How's it going, Raider Nation? It's JT coming at you with another episode of the RaiderCast, your podcast for everything silver and black. Today, I'm going to be talking about and discussing the reveal for our home and away schedule for the 2023-2024 NFL season. Now, we don't know the dates, we don't know when these games are played, we don't know anything about that type of stuff. This is just going over the opponents we're facing, where we're facing them, stuff like that, how I feel about the schedule, and how I think, it's way too early to tell how we're actually going to do. That's going to be saved for pretty much till the summer, because we have to wait till training camp even gets close to being done before we can really predict how the season's going to go, especially with all the other teams' moves and additions and subtractions and all that other good stuff. So, to get into it, there is 6 playoff teams we're facing, 8 games against playoff teams if you count the Chiefs and Chargers twice. Obviously, Chiefs and Chargers are 2 of the teams, and then you have the Vikings, the Giants, the Bills, the Dolphins, as the other 4, which are all winnable games outside the Bills and Chiefs. Going off of that, I see 14 out of 17 of these games being extremely winnable. There's only 2 Eastern time games, Buffalo and Miami. One of those is going to be warm, pretty much no matter what time of season it is, so I'm okay with that. Going along that, 4 possible cold weather games with the Bills, the Bears, Kansas City, and Denver. And you could include the Lions and Colts, but those aren't affected because those are domed. And KC and Denver aren't always cold, and they don't always get super, super cold. KC can, especially if you play them into November and December. But I only expect really 2 cold games, you could say. And with Carr gone, who knows if those are actually going to be a factor anymore in terms of them being pretty much automatic losses. Realistically, the 2 cold games that I see happening are Buffalo and Chicago. But again, it depends on when we play those teams. Looking at the home schedule, it is very nice to have 4 East Coast teams on our home turf this season. 2 from New York, the Jets and the Giants, the Patriots, and then the Steelers. We could have easily had 6 East Coast games, but thankfully we have almost all of our East Coast games at home. We also have the Green Bay game at home, which is great because Lambeau can get extremely cold, even early until November. So that's awesome, obviously. So having not a lot of cold games and not a lot of East Coast games is fantastic because we had a lot this season and we lost pretty much all of them. We lost Jacksonville, New Orleans, Steelers. That stretch was just bad. But yeah, those are the cold/time schedule thing that we always have an issue with. Talking about those. So those definitely could be losses, especially Buffalo. Buffalo is, it's going to be a very hard game, even if we are really good to win. So that's kind of a game I'm already writing off, as well as the 2 Chiefs games, even though we are competitive sometimes. Not the last game we were in, but sometimes we are very competitive with the Chiefs, and it all depends on how the offseason goes for both teams this offseason. But I'm writing those off as losses because we've only won 3 out of the last, whatever games against the Chiefs in the last, 9 years since 2014. So I'm writing those off as losses. And then in terms of, games against teams with almost winning records, I'm going to say 8-9 is borderline winning record and borderline playoff team, which is why I included 8-9 teams and not just going 9-8 and above, because I think teams like the Packers, the Patriots are all, solid teams. And then you have the Lions, and then you have, the Vikings, and the Jets are pretty close to that as well. They were in the playoff hunt for a while. Really, the shittiest teams we're going to face next year are probably the Broncos, Colts, and Bears. But again, like we saw this season, that doesn't matter because we lost to the Colts. We swept the Broncos, and regardless of who they get as coach, they're going to have to try really hard to, get back their mojo against us because we've won 6 straight games against them. Stuff like that. So, but yeah, we have 12 games versus teams with 8-9 record or better. KC twice, LA twice, Miami, the Bills, Lions, Packers, Vikings, Giants, Steelers, and Pats. So those are a lot of good, solid teams and should be good, solid teams even next season. Especially the Giants, who are in pretty much almost a rebuild year. They were coming off a really, really bad season, and they already made the playoffs off of really good coaching from Brian Daboll. Mike Tomlin's Steelers are always a trouble for us. Although we are on home turf this time, and they haven't beat us at home since Ben Roethlisberger was, his first start as a QB. Like, they haven't beat us at home in that long time, so maybe that'll help us this time. And then you have the Vikings, who are going to be interesting next season because they have a terrible defense and a really good offense. They have a negative point differential and are a top 4 seed in the playoffs, which is nuts. But yeah. And then we have 9 home games versus 1 away, and I could see maybe 1 international home game. They might take away a home game from us, but I don't know because we have a new stadium. They probably don't want to. So I could definitely see maybe one of the away games being, away. Maybe another London game or something like that. And if there is a London game, that would suck because I hate London. Maybe it's going to be another Bears-Raiders game in London. Who knows? But yeah, we obviously don't know what the international games are. We don't even know how many they're going to be next season. There might be 2 Germany games. There might only be 1. There's going to be Mexico maybe, and then there's going to be London maybe. So there's, a bunch of different options, a bunch of different things that we don't know yet. But those are just my general thoughts on the initial home-away schedule. I think we have a solid chance next season. I mean, 14 out of 17 games are very winnable for us. I'm obviously, like I said earlier, take off the Chiefs and the Bills. All those games are extremely winnable. It's a matter if we can actually win those games next season. And with this draft and off season coming up, I'm very excited to see if we can actually build a roster, build a defense, build up the O-line to actually be able to win those games that we should have won this year. And I think people like to forget there's 6 games that we lost that were by 1 score or less. So that's how close we were. And I think that with this offseason and the addition of a little bit more talent and a little bit more of people in the system, because Patrick Graham's not going anywhere, Josh McDaniels not going anywhere. So those systems will be in place for a whole season now, a whole offseason of them bringing in their guys and getting rid of the guys that they don't want. And having Davante Adams be in another year in McDaniel's system, he already had a record-breaking season for us in the silver and black. So let's see what he can do next season. Max Crosby had a career year. Josh Jacobs had a career year. These big players had career years, and then there's Darren Waller and Hunter Renfrow who didn't get a chance to have career years because of injury. So it's a very exciting season coming up. I'm very excited. This schedule is definitely pretty damn solid. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know down in the comments how you guys are feeling about the schedule, this home-away schedule. Obviously, I'll do a full, talk about our actual schedule once that's revealed. Usually around May or June-ish it gets revealed. So when that gets revealed, I'll definitely talk about it then. But anyways, guys, like and subscribe for more unfiltered silver and black content. And I hope you guys had an absolutely fantastic day. And peace out, Raider Nation.